Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and good morning to you. If you're just now tuning in, I'm Jeane Franseen. We are following breaking news at this hour. U.S. military bases throughout Europe have been put on heightened alert status due to a potential terrorist attack. The official, who declined to be identified because he was not authorized to speak to the media, did not really elaborate on the nature of the threat, but we know he did confirm it was not tied to the French elections. Joining us live this morning for this breaking news alert is national security expert with the University of New Haven, Ken Gray. Good morning to you, Ken. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Jeane. Glad to be with you.
So startling news to learn this Tuesday morning as U.S. military bases throughout Europe are on high alert for a potential terrorist attack. If you can provide an update and why this is going on.
Sure. So the European theater there, U.S. force bases have increased their threat level, their force protection condition Charlie. What this says is that military personnel should refrain from wearing their uniforms off base, that certain facilities on the bases are closed, such as barber shops, that there is reason to believe that there is a potential likelihood of a terrorist attack either against facilities or against personnel. As to what caused this change in their force protection conditions is unclear. The military has not said what it is. However, it's more than likely that either intelligence was received either from our allies throughout Europe or through our intelligence services that a terrorist group was planning to carry out some type of action against the United States. This happened in the past by Al-Qaeda and by ISIS. And so it more than likely, considering the attacks that went on in Russia and those that have occurred since the United States left Afghanistan, it's likely to be ISIS Khorasan that is a threat. However, that's just a guess on my part. But nonetheless, for unknown reasons, the U.S. military has raised their force protection level to put their personnel and bases on alert that there is the likelihood of a terrorist attack.
Ken, thank you so much for that detailed breakdown. With your knowledge and expertise on national security, were there any warning signs before this alert came out? Again, this was not brought to us by, U.S. military officials. There was a source who wanted to remain unnamed because of this, wanting to know, were there any warning signs?
So again, this has not been shared with us. However, I would point out that here in the United States, we have seen a number of military bases have potential probing actions being taken against them. That is, we've had the illegals attempting to get onto bases here in the United States. That may be the same type of actions that are occurring in Europe that may have required this threat level to be elevated. But again, that is not something that has been released by the military there about why it is that they have raised the threat level. But looking back at 9/11, we had intelligence warnings before 9/11 that Al-Qaeda was likely to hit us, and we all thought at the time that it was going to be against U.S. interests abroad, U.S. bases abroad, U.S. companies abroad, and instead it was carried out here in the United States. Well, that was an intelligence alert that caused us to start looking for an attack. Likewise, this is likely to be an intelligence alert that either through electronic means, through communications monitoring, or by interviews, interrogations of people associated with some of these terrorist groups. That may have been the thing that required the raising of the threat level. They just haven't told us yet. We do not know the reason for this, and it's likely to reveal either sources or actions that have been going on that have not been released to the public.
Absolutely. Now, with this heightened alert being on U.S. military bases in Europe, does this cause for a heightened alert right here in America with U.S. military bases?
So we have not seen a raise of the threat level here in the United States, to my knowledge. But and it may be intelligence specific. But that being said, the probing attempts or possible probing attempts by themselves here in the United States would cause a requirement to raise the threat level here in the United States. That is, there have been a couple of incidents where people have attempted to get on base that do not have the clearances, that do not have the identification necessary to be able to get onto base, and that their efforts have been stopped. They've not been able to successfully get onto bases. However, it shows that it's possible probing to see whether or not these bases are vulnerable to an attack. And we've been talking all along since the October 7th that it's possible that there are sapper groups, that is, terrorist groups that have come into the United States that may be waiting to carry out some type of actions here. This may be related to the raising of the threat level there in Europe.
Great point you're making there, and it just further shows why I know we don't have a lot of information for this news alert. We are learning more details this is developing, but nevertheless, why these situations should be taken seriously, because we've seen time and time again where things are kind of brushed off, and then unfortunately it becomes deadly.
Yeah, but it's always after a big event occurs. In hindsight, you look back doing a debriefing about what went on, and you see that there were indicators ahead of time that had you acted upon them, you may have been able to change the course of history with these type of attacks. Same thing now is that it's better to be on the safe side, raise the threat level, and potentially stop an attack than it would be if you just ignored it and waited for an attack to happen and respond to that.
Great advice there. Ken Gray, always a pleasure having you join us here on Live Now for these breaking news alert. Is there anything else you'd like to add in regards to this story before we let you go?
Not on this story. Again, we should be just as cautious here in the U.S. as they are being there in Europe. But without the details of what caused them to raise the threat level, it would be difficult to make similar preparations here.
Ken Gray, always a pleasure, national security expert, and also all things international news as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Live Now from Fox.